Kara and Jeff Cheney have two beautiful children. When their third child, Lathan, was diagnosed with a rare and very serious congenital heart defect during Kara's pregnancy, the Cheneys made the decision to give Lathan a chance at life. This is their story.
When we first found out about Lathan's defect, it was an extremely long day for us. It's kind of news that you don't want to hear, and you can't imagine that it would ever happen to you. We found out that he had right AV canal disorder. When the doctors first looked at us and they told us at 36 weeks, I believe it was, that he may not even make it, our initial thought was we are going to do whatever we can to make sure that he makes it. After having Lathan, there was this ongoing, not joke, because it's never a joke in the ICU, but there was this ongoing thing that I was the only mom that never got to hold her child. And I know in the ICU they try very hard to make that a reality. For me, I was so nervous about all the wires and everything that was going on, but they assured me that one day I will, as soon as I was able to. But he had to have his open heart surgery first, so I was not able to officially hold him until he was about 2 months old. And that was the best time that I got to spend with him. Very heart-wrenching watching them. You need about 5 people in the room in order to move him, but I did get to hold him. There were moments in the ICU that literally take your breath away. You could be so close to death at any moment, at any changing of a medicine, changing of a line, that time is lost. And it's so heart-wrenching to watch. And then there's those moments that they make it through and you live to fight another day. It's a challenge, and it's very scary. It's not something that I would wish on anybody.
Lathan had so many ups and downs, and so many times when the doctors had actually called me from being at home and at work and asked me to come up to the hospital because they said he's not going to make it past today. But he kept making it past, and it was a weekly occurrence that it was going on. And the doctors, the nurses, everybody was kind of surprised at really how strong he was, and the fact that he was always able to overcome all these obstacles. It was actually what led the doctors and the nurses to dub him the little Superman.
I think there comes a time in the ICU where you realize that sometimes enough is enough, and you just have a release, and you know that you've done everything you can to give this child a fighting chance. And we had that. We knew that his time was coming, and those last moments were very precious to us. So we were thankful that it wasn't an emergency thing, that we actually got to all be in the room and all look at him. And believe it or not, we were even singing that day. And right before he was about to take his last breath, he opened his eyes to say goodbye. And that made it all worth the journey.
So Lathan's congenital heart defect is very rare. Patients without congenital heart disease have two sides of their heart. They have a right side of the heart and a left side of the heart. In Lathan's case, he was born with something called a right dominant AV canal, and in his situation, the left side of the heart wasn't well formed. Because of that, although he looked okay when he was initially born, he needed surgery within the first few days of life to survive. This type of surgery, while we do it a lot, the heart disease is very rare and obviously very concerning, and these patients can be very critically ill when they're born. The thing I learned from Lathan and his mom and dad, and what really struck me, is what a strong family they had. It's incredible here what we ask of our patients, but we can't forget what we ask of our families too. A lot of times they're far from home, like the Cheneys were, going through very stressful situations. And the way they stuck together and tried to give Lathan, and they did give Lathan as much support as they possibly could, was really remarkable. I'll always remember walking by Lathan's room and seeing Lathan's mom there, and she always had a smile on her face, and it was always remarkable the strength that she showed while being at Lathan's bedside when so much was going on. And so that really struck me as their support for Lathan as a family, and it really struck me that we really need to make sure that we're supporting our families in addition to our patients as we take care of them.
During the time when Lathan was sick, I was very busy at work. Kara was up at the hospital, staying by Lathan's bedside, and the hospital bills just started coming in, and almost immediately it was sent right to debt collectors. I even laughed on one of the phone calls saying, it's been 2 weeks since the operation, how am I getting debt collectors calling me already? And with me having the inability to focus on the house at that time, because my work dictates that I work so many hours, we needed some basically financial help because it was, our insurance has a very, very high deductible. And off of that, because of where it was located going to Boston Children's, once our deductible is met, we then kick in almost like a co-insurance. So it's several $1,000s, and everybody calling all at once for it. So the Gabrielle Dinsmore Heart and Hope Fund, I'm very thankful to them that they stepped in and kind of took over some of those bills for us and took that off of our plate and one less thing to worry about so that we could focus on what really mattered, and that was Lathan. Lathan's last day was a very long and, in a way, surprising day. I had just come up from Connecticut, and immediately when I got to the hospital, the doctor sat down with us and told us, we've run out of options. There's nothing left we can do. And I was going up there with the expectation of, yay, I get to see Lathan today. And
on May 22nd, 2014, Lathan David Cheney passed away. Although his life was short, having lived just 3 months, he leaves behind a legacy of strength and determination. Lathan truly was a little Superman.